The moment I stepped out of the courthouse, I took my daughter's hand and booked a flight to Boston that very same day. Meanwhile, my ex-husband's entire family had gathered for his fiancée's gender reveal. But when the laboratory report was opened, a silence fell over the room that never lifted. My name is Viraya Solmont. I am 56 years old. And at 2:17 p.m. that afternoon, standing on the steps of Harlan Ridge Family Court, I felt for the first time that the air really does turn cold when you decide to leave someone for good. My daughter Kalitha's hand was in mine. Her fingers were damp with sweat. She's 9 years old, but that day she stood straighter than I did. My ex-husband's name is Thayer Colvane. He called after me from behind, "You're overreacting, Viraya." I didn't turn around. Before I go any further, pause for just a second and like and subscribe, but only if this story truly reaches your heart. Tell me in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is there. I read every comment. Now let me take you back 11 months, to the night everything started leaking through the cracks. We lived in Alder Hollow, Kentucky in a modest neighborhood. A 1,520 square foot house. A $2,240 monthly mortgage. 17 years of marriage. I'm a forensic accountant. I track business fraud and hidden assets. Ironically, at home I never tracked anything. Thayer worked in real estate. Always chasing the next deal, the next promise. His mother, Maval Colvane, brought cinnamon rolls every Sunday and liked to say, "A woman who audits men all day shouldn't audit her husband." She would laugh softly like it was harmless. It wasn't. There were 3 moments in the last 8 years I never forgot. The first was Kalitha's 7th birthday at 6:43 p.m. Thayer cut the cake and said, "Mom's good with numbers. She'd probably calculate how much this party cost before she hugs you." Everyone laughed. My daughter looked at me, searching my face like she needed to know if that was who I was. The second was Thanksgiving with 15 guests at the table. He leaned close and whispered, "You won't fight me. You never do. That's the beauty." I straightened the gravy boat and said nothing. The third was a bank statement dated March 14th. A transfer of $44,920 into an LLC called Gray Lantern Holdings. Public records showed his future fiancée, Sorrel Ives, listed as a 9% owner. At the time, she was just a family friend. That was when I began gathering proof. After my 5:12 a.m. shift, I would sit on the cold kitchen tiles with my phone pressed so tightly to my ear it hurt. I traced 96 consecutive mortgage payments from my account. 3 accounts. 7 transfers. $238,600 in total payments that Thayer never once acknowledged. Then a champion stepped into my life. Rosalind Mercer Hale, age 73, a retired judge and former client. She looked at me and said, "Bring me the paper." Not the tears. Paper wins. I laid 152 pages of documentation in front of her. Her coffee went cold as she reviewed them. He signed here. And here. And here. 3 signatures. 3 mistakes. My preparation was quiet. I met with attorney Delphine Arkwright while Kalith was at school. I secured the original files in storage locker number 318. Thayer had no idea I was capable of fighting back. He still believed, she won't fight. Now pause for a moment. Have you ever been underestimated in your own home? Write it in the comments. And if you want to know what happened at that gender reveal, stay with me. The court date came at 10:06 a.m. Temporary custody was granted to me. Financial disclosures were ordered. Gray Lantern's 9% ownership surfaced. Thayer's face drained of color. By 4:58 p.m., Kalith and I were on a flight to Boston. My aunt Nadira Vale lives in Harbor Point District in an 840 square foot apartment. Small but safe. Back in Kentucky, the Colvane family gathered for Sorrel's gender reveal. 31 guests. Blue and pink balloons. A large box labeled "Lab Confirmed." Maval gave a speech about legacy. Heads nodded. Thayer stood confidently and said, "Fresh starts. No drama." But the envelope in Sorrel's hands held more than the baby's gender. It contained the full prenatal lab report, including a paternity panel. During legal discovery, Rosalind had ensured the clinic record dated August 22 was included, the very week Thayer swore he was out of town. He had shown me a 6:14 a.m. boarding pass as proof. Cell tower logs told a different story. Sorrel opened the report. She smiled at first. Then her eyes stopped moving. The paper trembled in her hands. Probability of paternity, 0%. Silence. No coughing. No whispers. Just the hum of the air conditioner. Thayer tried to grab the envelope. His hands shook. Mavel's lips parted as if to speak, then closed again. A 9-year-old cousin quietly asked, "Is he not the dad?" Sorrel spoke clearly. "You told me you were separated that week." His own words, emails submitted in discovery where he wrote, "She won't fight," were now part of the public court record. His own actions stood against him. I wasn't there. But 52 minutes later Nadira called me. "It's quiet here," she said. "The kind that stays." The aftermath was straightforward. Thayer's brokerage suspended his license for non-disclosure. The Alder Hollow house sold for $402,000. I received my rightful share. Kayla started school in Boston. On the first snowfall she said, "Mom, it's loud and soft at the same time." I laughed for the first time in months. Healing wasn't instant. I began therapy once a week for 9 consecutive weeks. I launched my own consulting firm, Solmont Forensic Advisory. The first year brought in $64,000. It wasn't huge, but it was mine. I planted rosemary, thyme, and a small maple sapling on the balcony. Roots are stubborn. They just need light. Rosalind mailed me a letter that read, "Paper wins. But peace is quieter." I framed it in Kayla's room. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If this story reached you, press like and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you don't miss another story. Tell me in the comments, have you ever had to set boundaries with your own family? I read every comment. Until next time, take care of yourself. You deserve it.